So today we're going to be looking at a new in the box Sears turn of the century 52-inch ceiling fan made by Emerson. The box is labeled Sears Our Premium Quality Turn of the Century. I believe Dan reviewed this exact fan recently and referred to it as the Searsiest Sears fan that Sears ever Searsed, which is an accurate description, and I would agree. Notice that it's pictured with a light fixture which is sold separately. It's the turn of the century 52-inch ceiling fan. It is advertised as being energy efficient with a durable steel motor housing, 4-speed reversible motor, reversible stenciled wood blades. There's a line art drawing of the fan showing the same floral schoolhouse fitter that's pictured on the front of the box. And interestingly, the blades are flipped to reverse pitch in the line art drawing, and the sideband is shown without a stencil pattern in it. So it doesn't appear that they just used the same image. This is catalog order number 42-1054. This is the brown with brass trim version. (42-1054). And the features for the turn of the century ceiling fan include direct drive motor for smooth, quiet operation. It's permanently lubricated. It has genuine wood blades, which have been hand balanced for stability and precision angled for full airflow. Reverse blades 2 ways. Turn blades over to display decorative brass colored stenciling or rich walnut finish. Reverse blade direction for direct or indirect airflow. 4-speed on-off pull chain switch. Simple installation. Tools needed include a cat, a step ladder, 1/4-inch flat tip screwdriver, and a wire stripper. And then a bunch of the rest of this gets cut off by some tape, but in general, it says it installs to any standard outlet box. You can use any Sears light kit. Hardware and installation instructions are included. There is a full 1-year fan warranty and a 5-year motor warranty, and that the fan draws between 40 and 100 watts depending on speed. The artwork on the back of the box is more line art. So it shows the accessories available. You can get down rods, which they show there, available in 12, 24, and 36-inch lengths. You could get a cathedral and vaulted ceiling mounting kit. You could get a swag kit, or you could get a close to ceiling mounting kit, which was later recalled. Interesting shape on that motor housing, by the way, and notice the adornment on the bottom of the switch cap there. That looks like that's a line art drawing from a different model fan. So down here they detail that there's a 1-year warranty on the fan, a 5-year warranty on the motor, and they have a line art drawing of the fan, which is UL listed and made in the USA. And it apparently includes improved stationary motor shaft design for smooth operation. It advertises that it has a Sears 4-speed motor, solid copper windings, Sears blade to hub mounting system for positive blade location and maximum stability, Sears exclusive all metal motor housing, permanently lubricated double shielded ball bearings never need oiling and provide quiet operation, and it has a precision ground 5/8" steel shaft. Now the motor that is shown here is accurate. That is a KB55 motor. It is a stack motor. It's essentially a, I don't want to say stripped down, but it is a stripped down version of the K55 motor. Instead of a rubber flywheel, you have an aluminum flywheel. It is a one piece, and it is the rotor. So there is no rubber isolation in this fan. Everything is metal on metal, and these fans do hum. It's worth noting that this fan is the exact same as the Emerson 1895 series from this same era. The only difference between this and the 1895, another cat wants to intervene. The only difference between this and an 1895 series from the same era is the vent hole pattern. So it's the same down rod, the same motor, the same motor housing, the same switch housing, switch cap, blade irons, blades, everything is the same, but they put a different bottom plate. The top plate is actually the same. They just put a different bottom plate with a different vent hole pattern for the Sears fans. So it's a little bogus to say that it's a Sears 4-speed motor, because you could definitely get a 4-speed 1895 series outside of Sears. Lighting showroom sold them. Ace Hardware sold them. Home Improvement Center sold them. Also, when it says it is a Sears blade to hub mounting system, which is their way of trying to polish a turd and make it sound like it's good that you don't get a rubber flywheel. That is also not a Sears exclusive. Again, everything that you're getting here is identical to the 1895 series, which was widely sold everywhere from True Value to high-end lighting showrooms. So the only thing Sears about this is the bottom plate. So now let's go ahead and unpack the fan and see what's inside the box. Before we do that though, let's take a quick look at the fans currently installed. This is an SMC Laguna. This is the Kmart version. It has the brown switch housing, 3-speed, with a slag glass light kit that I got from Van Newman. Came out of someplace went out of business in Menasha, Wisconsin. I'm probably the only person in Florida that has imported Wisconsin lighting. So we got the little 36-inch SMC Laguna here. J-hook, very nice fan. 4-speedified. This is speed 3. This is medium low. 36-inch Hunter original. Sing us a song here, the piano fan. Right here over my piano is this Thomas Fasco. Over here we have a Fasco Charleston with a Newtone knockoff Saturn light kit and a Thomas Edison style bulb in there. That fan is what's going to be coming down and getting replaced with the Emerson. And speaking of Emersons, right here above the stove, we have the blender fan. The Spirit of Saturn that is only a few days younger, like 3 days younger than I am. Its birth date is so close to mine. Up there. And then below we have the bed fan, the Chupang, which is currently on its lowest speed, 5-speed, 5th speed, but in case you didn't watch the video, it has a modified capacitor and it's not the factory speed control, so you know, my 5th speed is not going to be your 5th speed. This is the Chupang bed fan. We're filming the Emerson TOC right now. We have a Newtone slimline in this space. This came to me new in box from eBay, I think pretty recently. Inside here still have the 4-speedified 29-inch Emerson Northwind that's actually 27 inches. And then last but not least, the ever-present Moss Caribbean Breeze. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to fan unboxing. So there's a little sneak peek from some upcoming project. Back to the turn of the century. So we have unboxed now the turn of the century, at least partially. And we've got the owner's manual, the fan in the box. So this is there were several models of this fan in various levels of ornateness, with and without brass trim, and some were made, by Emerson, some were made by Lasco, and the Emerson version, you get variable speed, 3-speed, 4-speed, you get it with a dropped flywheel, get it with K55 motor, KB55 motor, but apparently for this particular iteration, and that line art there is fairly accurate. It does show the correct KB55 blade iron mounting. There's no rubber flywheel there, but it doesn't show the perforated sideband, so only a little bit accurate. But there are the model numbers for the brown and white versions. Worth noting that shown with a 5-light kit here, which is different than what's shown on the box in both the photograph and the line art. But I do think it's interesting that what comes in the box is a fan without a light kit. And yet absolutely nowhere on the box, the manual, any part of this do they show an image of the fan without a light kit. They don't actually show you what you're getting. So if we go ahead and open it, I do like when the box art, or when the artwork matches what you actually get, and I have to say, this is remarkably accurate. 4 little blade irons stored in individual cubbies. Pull chain in its own cubby. This fan is completely new old stock. Blades are shrink wrapped. Got a mounting bracket, down rod, hardware, canopy, blade badges. So I got this fan from a collector through a collector. This is from another fan collector, Steven, and it came to my attention via Dan Newman, so thank you to both Steven and Dan. Without both of you, I would not have this fan. Some really nice stencil work on these solid wood blades. Seem to actually be really nice. Wingtip blades. Let's go ahead and get the condom off the motor. So this is what it looks like fresh out of the box. So this appears to have come a little loose in shipping. I'm going to have to tighten that up, but that's not a problem. It's held on with a nut inside. Got that lovely long 1-piece 4-speed pull chain. That was my favorite thing about TOCs and 1895 series as a kid, was that they had this pull chain that was just so damn long without a little connector break in it, 3-4 inches in like every other fan had. So everything is very nice and shiny, copper windings inside there, nice and shiny. The paint, the Chesterfield brown paint, glistens. The brass is in very nice shape. The Sears sticker is as shiny as the day it left the factory. There's that same model number that you have listed on the owner's manual, rated for 1 amp. And anyone who's familiar with an 1895 series will recognize this top plate is most definitely from an 1895 series. Reverse switch located on top of the motor housing. So let's go ahead and get the Fasco down and get this fan up. So for those of you who want to see the manual, here are some shots of the manual. You can just pause your video to see what you want to see. Again, if you want to actually read this, just pause the video. Notice that they show one way of mounting it without the blade badges and one way of mounting it with the blade badges. Notice that they use the artwork from an 1895 series here. Also an earlier version of the 1895 series that had the tapered switch housing and the flat bottom cap. So in the world of 1895 series, the original 3 generations of them were all 4-speed before it became a 3-speed fan. And the 4-speed version was available with the anytime that you see the flat switch cap and the tapered housing, that's a 4-speed 1895 series. Then they switched to this version with a straight switch housing and a rounded switch cap, and that was still 4-speed if it came with a tuna can canopy. When they switched to 3-speed, they switched to the new style canopy. So any 1895 series with that canopy is going to be a 4-speed fan. Not everyone with that switch housing and switch cap is going to be a 4-speed fan, but some are. Everyone with that switch housing and switch cap is going to be a 4-speed fan. And you'll notice in the instructions up here, they say that it may be equipped with either a 3-speed or a 4-speed switch, and they give you instructions for both. And for some reason in this picture, they show that thing hiked all the way up to the flywheel like an old man's pants. And then there's the parts breakdown on the back page. I do think it's interesting that the part number is different for the reverse switch, which is number 9 here. You notice it ends in 008 for the brown fan and 009 for the white fan. Or maybe that's vice versa, which one's white and which one's brown. But I don't understand what about the reversing switch would be different. Unless it's the screws. Maybe they used, you know, like these black painted or antique brass screws here. Maybe you got polished brass screws on the white fan, because the switch itself is black no matter what. There wasn't like a white switch on the white fan. So anyway, there's a mystery for you. All right, let's go ahead and do the install. All right, so here it is installed. This is the Sears / Emerson TOC, turn of the century. So again, big thanks go out to Stephen and Dan for making this dream come true. I have wanted one of these fans new in box since at least 2003. These fans were pretty common back in the day. The first place that I can remember really falling in love with one was Jabberwocky Bookstore, which is it's in Massachusetts. I don't remember exactly what town, but there's a town somewhere up there on the coastline north of Boston where I used to visit family. And locally there was a I don't know how to describe it. Not exactly a mall, but a sort of maybe like a converted factory warehouse type building, you know, like one of those old brick Victorian factories that people might make into very fancy loft apartments now. But this had been made into a bunch of different retail spaces. There were just a bunch of little small local businesses there. The hallways of the place had Newtone Slimline 1 fans, and then one of the businesses in it, this bookstore called Jabberwocky, had one of these fans in it, this exact brown and brass 4-speed turn of the century. It also had a Slimline 2, which is the teardrop vent version. So, you know, we're just cool fans all around that place. Let's go ahead and do spin up to high. So this is the first time running. It's been in the box for approximately 40 years. It's 2022. So it was probably made around 1982. It's reasonable to assume this is a 40-year-old fan. Of course it works fine. This is the first one I've had of these new in the box, but it is not the first one of the. I have the identical fan that I got used on eBay years ago. I used to have it installed over there where the Saturn is now, and a video of that fan exists also on Dan's channel from several years ago. It is very nice to have one of these new in box, have it all shiny and perfect. This one is much quieter than my other fan. Even though it's metal on metal, it's no buzzing, no humming. So really all this is an Emerson 1895 series with Sears's trademark vent pattern, that U-shaped vent. It's the turn of the century vent. It was Sears's thing. They came up with it. They used it on basically all their fans in the 1980s and even into the early 1990s. Now, Lasco, to be fair, took it with them and made their own series of fans with the same vent pattern all the way into the mid-90s when Lasco got out of the ceiling fan business. So let's do a spin down, 2, 3, 4 off. I expect the bearings to be a little stiff because the fan is brand new and it has not been run. Whatever result we get here, I would expect it to be longer, you know, tomorrow and a week from now after the fan's been running, because it's going to be running 24/7. Having said that, plenty of fans would have already stopped by now 40 years out of the box. I have seen some very stiff bearings. Really pretty fan. It's an 1895 and a dress, but it's a pretty dress. Another place I recall seeing these, there's a restaurant somewhere in New Jersey called the Brick House. And my dad's mom and dad took me out to eat there. This is decades ago when I was a little kid. And yeah, I was probably 10 years old at the time. I was old enough to be into fans and know what a cool fan was, and young enough to be irresponsible and devious. So excused myself from the table to go to the bathroom, and on the way to the bathroom, I just so happened to stop by the maitre d' station, and there's a bunch of wall switches. And I start flipping switches, trying to turn the fans on, because not in the restaurant itself where we were seated, but there was a bar section that had a very high ceiling, probably a 25, 30-foot ceiling. And it had, I think, 4 of these fans installed like in a kind of just a square grid pattern. They were up high. They were, you know, probably the stock down rod height, 3-inch down rod, mounted up on a 25, 30-foot ceiling. So they were up there. And I was trying to find a wall switch to turn them on. And I didn't find that, but I did manage to find the light switch that plunged the entire dining room into complete darkness in the middle of everybody's meal. Now, this was we're not talking like a McDonald's or a Denny's. This was a very fancy black tie, reservations required, white tablecloth type of restaurant. And, you know, it was not that good that I was just over there plunging everybody's lunch hour. It was the middle of lunch. It was completely packed. The building was, every table was full, and there I go, plunging everybody into darkness, trying to turn on ceiling fans that aren't even mine. And there we go, final spin down. So I would say that is an amazing spin down for a brand new in the box 40-year-old fan. That's incredible. All right, so let's check out some of the other speeds now. Let's go to the lowest speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's cool about this fan? Relative to a fan made today, what's cool about it? Well, it's made in the USA. It's got solid wood blades. It's got a very powerful heavy-duty motor with copper windings. It is not a spinner motor. It has real thick steel and brass castings, very solid. If you go buy a fan at Home Depot today, something of like comparable price and quality comparable market segment to what this was at its time it was made in the early 1980s, you're going to get a fan that is just a lot lighter duty, lighter weight, thinner metal. You're not going to get real wood blades. You're going to get a computer printed simulated wood grain on top of cardboard, particle board, laminate blades. You're going to get a much less powerful motor that is concerned with Energy Star standards. This motor is concerned with doing a good job in moving air. But I think my favorite thing about this fan and the 1895 version of it is that it's 4 speeds. I have had a lifelong love affair with 4-speed fans, to the point that I tend to purchase 4-speed pull chains and just make fans into 4-speed fans that don't come that way from the factory. I'll take 2-speed and 3-speed fans and convert them to 4-speed. And what really started my love affair with that was when I was a real little kid, maybe 4, 5, 6 years old. I had a friend who lived next door, Ricky, and in Ricky's house they had a Newtone hugger in his room, the old 4-blade only square GE vents, early 80s version, big chunky switch housing. The same hugger that was made during the Slimline 1 era. Master bedroom, his parents' room, had a white R&M Hunter original. Kitchen had a white and brass Hampton Bay Southwind 42-inch. Basically just a crest. But the living room had a white Emerson 1895 series, and it was the generation just before this that had the flat switch cap and the tapered housing, still with the tuna can canopy, still with the smooth blade irons in that section right there. It's what I call a second gen 1895, and it was a 4-speed fan. And I remember his mom demonstrating that for me because I was into fans even as a little kid. I thought that fan was super cool, and she's shown me how it's different from the average fan because it's got more speeds on the pull chain. I was just fascinated with that. I've wanted one ever since. So now I own several of that fan, including 2 of which we've painted fluorescent and put it tubular TOCs too. And that's been seen in a recent video. Will be seen again at some point. So let's go ahead and go up now to the next speed. This is low. Next speed up is going to be medium low. Off 1, 2, 3. So certainly Emerson is not the only company that made 4-speed fans. As far as I know, the only 4-speed fans that Emerson made were this fan, the turn of the century, and the 1895 series. I don't think any of their other models came with a 4-speed pull chain. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But other companies made 4-speed fans as well. The Lasco version of the TOC was available 3-speed variable speed, but also 4-speed. Casablanca made 4-speed fans for a while in the early to mid 2000s with the XTR 200 motor, and there was also a version with the XLP 2000, that's their K55 rubber flywheel motor that had a 4-speed pull chain. And we featured a video not too long ago of a Panama, new in the box from maybe 2008, I think. That was that configuration, XLP 2000 rubber flywheel motor with a 4-speed pull chain. Hunter has made some 4-speed fans in the 2000s. They may still make them. Don't know about that. They were not making them in the vintage era. Hunter did not make any 4-speed fans in the 1970s or 1980s or 1990s. We're talking all very modern, very Home Depot 2000s Chinese spinner motor fans. Royal Pacific. Don't know if they're still in business, but they were an importer of builder fans for a long time in the 90s and 2000s. Royal Pacific had a series of fans that were 4-speed. Also, there was a period where the Walmart fans, I forget whether they were Honeywell or they were Better Homes and Gardens. It was somebody that had no business putting their name on a ceiling fan, but they were 4-speed pull chain. And that was, I'm starting to get the impression that the early 2000s was the time for 4-speed fans, because that's when, yeah, that's somewhere around like 2006, 7, 8 is when I recall seeing those in Home Depot. Or excuse me, in Walmart, because this is 2022. I haven't seen a 4-speed fan for sale in Walmart in years, and I still check every fan on the display every time I go. And if I ever see a 4-speed fan for sale at Walmart, again, I will buy it on site, even if it's a hugger, which it won't be. But so this is the medium low speed. This is a pretty mellow low. It's a little fast, but this is a 4-speed fan, so this is perfect for a medium low. Let's go up to the medium high speed. 4 off, 1, 2. So yeah, my favorite features about this fan are the fact that it's 4-speed and the fact that it just has this ridiculously long pull chain. Just to measure that, it's somewhere in the 16 to 18 inch range, I would guess. And it's just a one-piece pull chain. There is not a connector, you know, where you just have a little short chain and then a longer chain attached to it the way all the other manufacturers did it. And that is just super duper cool to me. So this fan will probably be staying here permanently, because this is a fan that I have wanted new in the box for years, decades, and to finally get it, probably the only thing that could knock this off its perch would be if I found that Panasonic fan I've been looking for forever. But this is very cool, and this ticks all the boxes. It's a brown fan in a room full of exclusively brown fans. The TOC was a fan, the turn of the century was a fan that was made just so many variations of it. It was made during 3 decades. There are 70s TOCs, there are 80s TOCs, and there are 90s TOCs. And it was made by multiple different manufacturers, at least 3 I can think of off the top of my head: Lasco, Emerson, and CEI. It was made in 4-blade, 5-blade, 3-speed, 4-speed, variable speed, remote control, ornate, plain, various different colors. Of every TOC, this is definitely my favorite variation. Very happy to have this fan. And last but not least, let's go back up to high. 3, 4 off high. other places I saw this fan was so common, man. I had grandparents who lived in Connecticut, and they had next door neighbors who had this fan in a master bedroom, and I would always see it through the window when I was out playing in the yard. And for some reason, my family thought it was rude. They would never just let me go over and knock on the door and ask to see the ceiling fan. I really wanted to. So here we are back on the lowest. It's going to take it a second to spin down to the final RPM. But we're getting down to the fourth speed again here. This is where it's going to spend most of its time. I like a fan on aesthetic low. Pretty much all my fans I only ever use on 2 speeds. The fastest high and the slowest low. They're on the slowest low most of the time just for looks and slight air movement. But you know, when I'm cooking and I want to get the smoke outside, I'll just open that sliding glass door there and crank the fan up to high and just blow all the cooking fumes straight outside. Or you know, if it's just a really nice day out and I want to get fresh air inside, you know, crank the fans up. But yeah, this is where it's going to be spending 95% of its time is on this speed. So over time I may modify this installation. I might add a light kit. I might add a longer down rod. I might remove the blade badges and mount the irons on the bottom side of the blade, you know, like an 1895 series. No telling. There's a lot of possibilities here. But for now, we're going to start with just the fan exactly as it comes out of the box, exactly as it's intended to be installed. So there's the 4-speed KB55 motor, Emerson manufactured, Sears, turn of the century ceiling fan in the early 1980s. The 4-speed beauty.